was lucky enough to work with Aaron for the last 3 years, and I also wrote down a few things, but by the time I joined the tools team, Aaron had already been officially developing tools for about 2 years. But he had worked here prior, as you all know. He was a force to be reckoned with and a subject matter expert on a number of things. So he was accessed a lot. I quickly learned what a great reputation he had, and most everybody in Lehi office, and I can't tell you how many times people remember seeing Aaron zipping around on his scooter, and then he'd stop suddenly and help somebody. So that was really neat. He enjoyed that face-to-face interaction. But about 13 months after I started, we kind of went home for a while. And this messed with Aaron. Now, I could tell he was conflicted because I knew he did like working in his PJs, but he also missed that face-to-face. So if he could have come here in his PJs, that would have been best. Okay. But he never let it show that his brain was being messed with, not doing face-to-face, because he could do this virtual thing, but you never really knew it. All right. I asked the team members to give me some thoughts on things they remember about Aaron and things that made him laugh and things. So some of this may be a little irreverent. I apologize ahead of time, but I promised I'd do this. He liked Diablo, but he loved Diablo 2. He enjoyed discussing anime. Sometimes it was so controversial it caused some rift between the team for about 20 minutes. He played Dungeons & Dragons. And like any good nerd, this is in the wording of one of his teammates, like any good nerd, he always found a way to bring it up in conversations. He loved programming. He primarily knew Python, but he always was dabbling in some other languages to, and I'm going to use air quotes, be more well-rounded. He loved Dr. Pepper. He always had a case under his desk and one in the cozy. So he had a pretty sweet Funko Pop miniature collection on his desk, as you all probably have seen. As I previously mentioned, he rode around the office on a scooter, and he had an insanely loud bell on it, I think on purpose. With my first one-on-one with him, I said, "Tell me a little bit about yourself." He said, "Well, apparently I can be a bit abrasive." And so he said, I have a suggestion since you're my new manager. He said, "You should probably screen all my outgoing emails and Slack messages." And so I did, and we did. Sometimes I just said go, and he knew which ones to send me. So anyway, he was the unofficial meeting leader. If someone was passively directing a meeting, he would eventually take over, and I don't think anybody minded. I would always say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" He says, "I don't know. I keep changing my mind." And that was kind of neat about him. He was so dedicated to responding in a timely manner to all the internal users here that he had this super annoying alert on his phone. And it screeched out, as some of you will remember, "I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me." And I could do the voice, but I'm not going to give him that satisfaction. And I remember hearing across the floor many times, "Shut up!" It went off like every 5 minutes. Okay. Anyway. All right, I'm almost done. He loved his family, even if he didn't always agree with them. He complained about having to be the IT guy at Linden Nursery. He loved his wife's cookies. He loved sharing them. And we loved him too. Because of our close proximity, we occasionally overheard him talking to his wife on the phone. The way he talked to Amanda left no doubt that he loved her. I hope she never heard us add, "Get around!" Love you too!
Oh, I did.
Okay. To have an effective and successful, I can barely read now. To have a successful and software team, you usually need to have these three types of developers on your team. An architect who is detail-oriented, anal, and an unyielding code czar. And you may know who that is. It's not Aaron. You need to have what I call a rolling ball of butcher knives. This is someone who's an innovator, who's not afraid to break stuff. And then you need a fixer, a code maintainer, an optimizer. That was Aaron. This enabled him to constantly work with our users, whom he absolutely loved helping. If we got fixes out fast, it was usually because of Aaron. I sometimes had to yell at him for being gone too long. I just want you to know that we're grateful to have had him as long as we did, and he would love that this was being dedicated to him because this is his jam. He was a techno goober, okay, and he would love this right now. So I am going to, we're going to do this first. Oh, and actually, her brother has something he wants to say. Come on up, and then we'll hand her the scissors.
This is just a message Amanda wrote for the Pure family and anyone else who loved Aaron. And she's asked me to read it. Aaron loved a lot of things in his lifetime. Space, games, Dr. Pepper, pickles, bacon, Whoppers, Japan, I don't know why that one, cooking, Josh Groban, and the list could go on and on. But one of the things he loved the most was learning and improving himself. He was constantly talking about what he had learned that day, or what was interesting, something typically very random, a new fact that he had learned. And ever since he moved from Texas to Utah, he had grown and progressed and learned in every aspect of his life. His brain was in a constant state of learning and seeking out new information, and perhaps one of the greatest things to come from him learning all that he did was that he took all of that knowledge and tried sharing it with other people. Sometimes because they saw it, others just because. It usually never took him very long to grasp these new concepts. Sometimes he was shocked that it didn't come as easily for other people as it did for him, and maybe that's one of the reasons why he was so passionate about helping others. He wanted to see them succeed and increase their knowledge. Aaron loved his time at Pure Storage. It was his home away from home. He loved the people, he loved the environment, the camaraderie, the free drinks, and he grew to love coding and felt very passionate about the things that he could do to help his coworkers and the company, and he wanted to support as many people as he could. This is from Amanda. Thank you so much for giving Aaron a place where he felt at home, where he felt comfortable, happy, challenged, and appreciated.
All right, a toast to Aaron. I'm going to quote him. I'm going to do two quotes. I don't care what people think, just do it and burn it with fire.
Cheers, Aaron.
Thank you.
All right, now we're all gonna turn.
Now we're gonna go right
That way?
through that door.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Better to see this way.
And Miguel, follow Miguel, who is coming around. Which way do you want to go?
Yeah,
That way.
That way? Okay.
Don't love with the scissors.
Yeah. The scissors are serious, folks.
We're going that way?
Yeah.
Okay.